Citizens speak out. People across the globe continue to risk their well-being and lives to call for government reforms that include freedom from discrimination, better job opportunities, and improved democracies in countries such as Bahrain, Honduras, Libya, Oman, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Yemen.
Following 5 weeks of protests by teachers in Honduras who had been calling for permanent contracts and better wages, many returned to classes after Honduran President Porfirio Lobo Sosa pledged to begin a dialogue if they resumed teaching.
In Saudi Arabia, around 100 people defied a protest ban to gather in front of the Ministry of Civil Service, where they called for employment opportunities, greater freedoms, and political rights for minorities.
With further violence in Yemen leading to 19 protesters' deaths in a 2-day period Monday and Tuesday, the United Nations, European Union, Italy, United Kingdom, and USA are increasing their calls for its halt and for President Ali Abdullah Saleh to step down. President Saleh and defected General Ali Mohsen, whose forces have been protecting the protesters, accepted an invitation from the Gulf Cooperation Council for mediation, although the revolutionary protesters have not.
The government of Oman announced it had created 11,000 new jobs, 5,000 for teachers and 6,000 for jobs in the civil service system, to address some of the requests of protesters.
In Bahrain, around 1,000 workers who went on strike to support pro-democracy protests have been laid off from their jobs, with the UN pledging to speak to the government as worker and employee organizations also strive to resolve the issue. Meanwhile, Press TV aired video footage of Saudi forces called in by the government of Bahrain razing a mosque to the ground in the northern town of Karawa.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad met with Kurdish leaders who discussed the group's living conditions and needs, while around 6,000 people gathered in a town outside Damascus to mourn the death of a protester shot by security forces, and people in the southern town of Dara held a general strike.
In Libya, International Criminal Court prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo reported Tuesday he had gathered evidence that the Libyan government planned to kill civilians as a way to quell the pro-democracy protests prior to the uprising occurring. Meanwhile, with government forces continuing to bombard citizens in Misrata, General Abdul Fattah Yunus, who commands the pro-democracy forces, expressed grave concern that the people in Libya's third-largest city are on the verge of being exterminated. He strongly urged the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, which is leading efforts to protect citizens under a UN Security Council resolution, to do more to ensure their safety. However, NATO has indicated it is difficult to protect the civilians because the government forces are hiding their arsenals in civilian areas. Meanwhile, UN Goodwill Ambassador Angelina Jolie visited Libyan refugees on the Tunisian border, where she commended the efforts of the Tunisians and others working to meet the needs of those coming across, while calling for more funding to assist the estimated 2,000 people who continue to flee from Libya each day.
They've all come so far. So many of the people here have been, this is their second time being displaced, their second or third time as refugees.
While deeply regretting the loss of human lives and the harm to innocent people, we pray for an end to all conflict as people choose to coexist in harmonious freedom, dignity, and peace.
In sorrowful response to these unfortunate world events, Supreme Master Ching Hai lovingly reminds, if the road is wrong, the more we walk on it, the more we go wrong. Any leaders who committed harm to others should stop at once, sincerely repent to God, and act to redeem their mistaken deeds. Then they will be pardoned. Even if humans can't forgive, heaven will.